right, can I see the parties on Joshua Paniagua? And probation, this is an application. Court is calling 2023 CR 3067, State of Texas versus Joshua Paniagua. Could I have the parties announced for the record for the state?
Travis Banks, the state of Texas.
Defense.
Tony Jimenez from Mr.
And are
Paniagua.
you Mr. Paniagua?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Paniagua.
All right, I'm gonna work on that. Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor. I had.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Showing you what's entitled application for community supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
I do, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
The state moves to proceed only on count 2, paragraph A.
Any objection to the waiver of the other paragraph?
None, Your Honor.
I'm going to show you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers of affidavit and admonitions. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of burglary of a habitation with intent to commit assault? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 2, paragraph A, punishments be assessed at 5 years in the prison. There's a $0 fine, GPS partial for 180 days, affirmative finding of family violence, the BIPP course and parenting course. Did you understand that to be your plea?
I believe I was supposed to get probation.
None of that's checked off.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I mean, it hasn't been checked off here.
Uh,
Oh, that's okay. So is your understanding that the state is recommending community supervision?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, that's the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Showing you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, are there any such motions?
None, Your Honor.
Outside the agreement, state is requesting that your community supervision be for a term of 5 years. There be a TAP evaluation and no contact with Justine Banda. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offense in count 2, paragraph A, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. State offer states exhibit 1 and its attachments.
No objections.
Showing you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call and the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. Right, after reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, have you talked to the complainant?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is the complainant aware of this?
The complainant has not been able to speak with the state.
All right,
Complainant has warrants.
okay. All right, defense, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor, I think after review, the client is taking responsibility for his actions, and we would respectfully ask the court to follow the plea agreement.
All right, sir, do you understand that she does not want you anymore?
Yes, ma'am.
So why do you keep going back to her place?
Well, because I got custody of my kids, and she's not supposed to be having custody of without outside of a facility, without supervision.
Well, that's when you handle that on the civil side. You don't just go to somewhere where you to have no
Understand.
contact. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If you have contact with her while you're on probation out here, you're looking at 5 years prison. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
She does not want you anymore. She does not love you. Well, maybe she still loves you. I don't know. But what I know is she does not want you anymore. And if she
Yes,
tells you she wants you, then you need to say, I understand that, but the judge is saying this relationship is over. So do you understand?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
relationship is over.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't want that relationship to be over, then that means that you wish to go to prison.
Ma'am.
All right. Are you employed?
No, ma'am.
When's the last time you had employment?
2017.
How are you supporting yourself?
Um,
That money tattoo on your arm, you can't use that for cash at the store.
I'm waiting for SSI.
For what?
I got bipolar disorder, PTSD, because I got stabbed in my neck.
When?
And, depression.
So you've been waiting for SSI since
No, I
2017?
just recently went to go when I went to go get my social security card, but gotta wait. There's a long line. They're
It
busy.
appears that everybody is getting SSI. So do you have a mental health diagnosis?
I was seeing a psychiatrist out there just now.
What psychiatrist?
Robert Jimenez.
Where is his facility located? All right, I'm going to sentence you to 5 years in the prison, suspended and probated for 5 years. GPS, partial. You're allowed to work and attend medical appointments. MIC evaluation. That can be out of custody. If you miss any of these appointments, they're going to occur in custody. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
When's the last time you used any drugs before being taken into custody?
Maybe like 3 months.
And what drugs were you using?
Marijuana.
And what else?
And
Okay. We'll do a referral to felony drug court. If you miss that appointment, you're going to go into custody. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
TAP evaluation. UA hotline. Do a referral to Center for Healthcare Services. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Where are your children now?
I have no idea.
How many do you have?
8.
What are their ages?
I got 2 newborns. One's 2, one's 1.5, and then the other one's 17, 12, and 11. And then the other one's 10.
And are all these children, their mother, is this Justine Banda?
No, she's not the mother of my children.
Oh, so where are they?
They're with the mother of my children.
You just said that you were at Justine Banda's house because there were some custody issues.
With my baby mama. Justine Banda was her friend who does not even reside at the residence.
Let's say mother of our children.
Mother of my
That
children.
sounds better.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you saying that the mother of your children was with Justine Banda?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know she was with Justine Banda?
Didn't know. I just went over there to pick up my child.
Your story makes no sense to me. How did you know your children were over there? Did Justine Banda pick up the phone and call you and say, hey, your children are here?
No, I talked to the grandma. We're supposed to have custody. We're supposed to have shared custody. And she told me that she was at my baby mama, at the mother of my children's house. So that's why I went over there to go pick them up. And it was my day to see him.
All right, proof of employment within 30 days. No employment as a home healthcare provider or with minors. Regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Parenting classes with Rainbow. Field visits one time per month until further notice. And you're saying you don't know where any of your children are right now?
They told me not to have contact with the mother of my children, so.
Well, I mean, no, you can't have contact with Justine Banda. Is she the mother of your children?
Well, the order was for both of them at the time. But she's not the mother of my children, no, no.
So you don't know where your children are. They're missing.
They're not missing, they're with the mother. They're with the mother.
All right. Rashawn, can you see and have probation, make sure they see what's happening with these children? Because nobody appears to know where they are. It seems maybe there's an order for them to be with the grandmother, but people are just passing children around to random people. Is there anything else he needs?
Is there a bill contact? And if so, will you exactly,
Justine Banda, Banda.
are there any community service hours?
Yes, we're gonna do 200 hours of community service hours restitution, and none of those are gonna be waived.
Nothing else on my income.
Is there anything else you need from the court
Uh,
to be successful?
anger management classes?
All right. So we're gonna do anger management classes. Thank you for telling me that.
Well,
Anything else you need?
it's not on top of my head right now.
All right. If there's something else you need, let probation know.
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. I'm so sorry. Just one moment. There's to be an affirmative finding of family violence. It's just so hot today. And instead of anger management, there's going to be the BIPP course. And did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargaining agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal and you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And because this is an affirmative finding of family violence in a conviction, you're not allowed to own, possess any weapons or ammunition. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
Excuse me.
All right, everyone, we're taking our break.
Michelle, tell me your name.
Michelle Miller.
All right, Ms. Miller, did you go over this program violation of Vice Rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it? Did you sign and date it?
Yes.
Did you understand the violation that you've seen in writing is that you failed to drug test on June 26th?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and did you see the recommendation is that you do a day of community service?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Reason for the that flow of recommendation, Judge, is because she did test the morning of June 27th and it was negative, but
When was the last time she tested before that?
yeah, so that's why I'm holding this violation hearing, because the last test was on 6/23, and given her drug of choice, by the 27th, it could be out of her system, but there's no way at this point to confirm that any substances were taken.
So did you go over all this?
Yes.
You understand you have a right to an attorney, and if you couldn't afford one, we'd appoint one for you?
Yes.
All right, and you understand you have a right to a hearing, and at that hearing, the probation department would have to show by a preponderance of the evidence that the violation occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Moore, do you want an attorney?
No, thank you.
Or would you like a hearing?
No, thank you.
Okay, so the allegation that you failed the drug test on June 26th to 23, how do you plead?
Guilty.
Michelle, you are on such a short leash with me right now. Listen, with your drug of choice and the fact you missed testing, and if I do not want to hear that you took a nap, you could have come in the morning and you could have taken that test. You could have come in the evening and taken that test. Like, you've been around, you've been in this program long enough that you know what's expected of you. And if I, like, yeah, you tested the next morning, but if you're taking something that's out of your system in 24 or 48 hours and you test 72 hours later, what does that show me? Right?
Yes.
Did they do the home visit with Michelle this week?
They did. She was not home.
I've been working Wednesday nights 2 to 7. every
Okay.
Wednesday.
That's all right. I mean, if you're working, you're working. You know, but Michelle, I just want to see you. You've got a lot riding on this, you know, and you've done the inpatient, you're in IOP, like you've done, are you still in IOP?
Yes, ma'am.
Like, you've done all of this stuff, like, you know, all of these things, and you know why the testing is so important. And I can't have you missing testing. I really can't right now, because
That was the first one I ever missed, and I was not happy. I did drive up here thinking that it was still open. I don't know why.
I know, I'm just worried
And I
because,
called Kelsey immediately and said, is there anything else I can do? That's quarter, and she told me there was no other, just the test in the morning. So I did exactly what she told me to do.
I mean, I'm giving you the recommendation, but Michelle, I'm just really worried because you can't fall off again.
No,
We
I
only
can't.
have so much time with you.
I can't.
And you got kids, you've got so much at risk.
I'll lose everything. So it's, you know, I feel like I did mess up, but I know that I can't afford to. I do understand that. I really do. And I did not mean to do it.
And do you know, like, Michelle, like, long-term, like, okay, fine, with or without me, like, do you know where that particular drug is going to lead you in time if you use that? I mean,
I'll have nothing anyway.
it's gonna be
a lose-lose
really,
situation.
really bad.
Yeah.
Like, really bad. I worked downtown for a very long time. I know where that's gonna lead you. I've seen it over and over and over and over again. And I gotta have you testing. So I'm gonna give you the 1 day of community service within 14 days. But Michelle, I'm telling you, you can't right now, you can't miss testing, because I'm trying to figure out if you're still using.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And I want to believe you and I want to trust you, but like, you gotta earn it.
Yes.
And like, this is how you earn it, right? And if we have like a long period with no use with you and you showing up for testing, then I can start to trust that when something like this happens, it's a one-off and you're not trying to beat a test,
Right.
you
I
know?
understand.
Okay, you okay otherwise?
I mean, I'm struggling with everything, but I'm moving along. I'm not using, so that's
Well, that's really good. And I know you're struggling.
but I see a psychiatrist on the 5th, so.
Good. I think that's really gonna help, you know? I really do. And I'm hoping that that gives you, you know, relieve some of that anxiety. I mean, you got a lot on your plate, you do. And you do a lot. And I mean, you should be proud of yourself. Like, you're doing a lot alone.
I'm so hard on myself.
We're gonna talk about that next women's group. You know, after what we heard from some of the other girls in their presentations, one in particular, I think would be a really nice conversation for us all to talk about how we talk to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that.
Yeah.
All right, Michelle, hang in there. You got this, but I gotta make sure you're not using.
Right, I understand.
All right, I'll see you soon. Have a good holiday. Don't do anything dumb.
No, my mom's birthday was yesterday. so
Oh,
that was-
Okay, good. What are you doing for 4th of July?
I don't have to work or anything. I'm just gonna hang out with the kids because I've been doing something every day since.
Good, hot dogs,
Anything
Right.
on the grill.
whatever,
Great, yeah.
something on the grill.
Yeah. And then
No
there's always
drinking.
fireworks all over the place, so
Right, stay home with the kids.
that's what I'm planning on doing, yeah.
All right, good.
You want me to go to the guys?
Dan, you're killing me. All right, this is the people versus Dan Shelton.
Chelsea Hadner on behalf of probation.
Tell me your name.
Daniel Shelton.
Dan, did you go over this 2-page advice rights form?
I did.
Did you read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand it?
I did.
Did you sign and date the second page?
Yes, ma'am.
You understand you have a right to an attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want an attorney?
No.
You understand you have a right to a hearing?
Yes, ma'am.
Where the probation department would have to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that the violation occurred. You understand that?
I understand.
All right, and do you want a hearing?
No.
The allegation is that you were removed, Dan, removed from IOP for not abiding by the Zoom rules.
It was my first, okay.
How do you
yes.
plead?
Guilty.
All right. Dan, this is on you. Like listen, I'm not gonna, you're free, right? We're talking about weeks left, a couple weeks, like nothing that I say or do to you at this point matters. Like, I want you to understand that, because like, you're almost done, right? You're gonna be done here. And the only one you're gonna be accountable to, you're not gonna have me to sit up here and bark at you all the time. It's only you, right?
Yeah.
Like, the only one that's gonna hold you in line and like make sure that when you leave here, you stay on a good path is you.
Yes, Your Honor, I don't want you to think from this doesn't mean I take the IOP any less serious.
I know, but Dan grilling, barbecuing, Charlie walking in and out of the room, like, here's the thing, Dan, you know the rules, right?
Yeah.
And
All right.
I got a soft spot for you because I think you've made a ton of progress, not as much as you needed to make, right? But like, I recognize, Dan, what you went through last time you were in this program and how different it was than this time.
Mhm.
I've watched you over my time on the bench, you look so much healthier.
Thank
You're
you.
staying awake. You're not taking this other drug that you were taking. Like, there's so many positive things you've done. And like, I never want to take that from you, but like this IOP, this isn't, at this point, you aren't doing this for my approval,
No.
right? Which I think means something to you. Like, you're not doing this for me anymore. You're not doing this for Kelsey to keep Kelsey, off your back or whatever. The only reason you're going to this program is for you.
I want to say, Your Honor, that this is the only time that I ever even went to a Zoom meeting for IOP. Like,
I know, well, that's what I said when Miss Havner said something to me. I said, he's supposed to be there in person.
I've been every time in person, but my van broke down on me. I had no choice. So I wasn't so familiar with, I know what.
You can't grill.
I know what's expected of me from Zoom. I know what I can and can't do, yes.
So just say it. Say, I screwed up, I blew it.
I want you to know, I did screw up, but I want you to also know that they said that they warned me through private message. I don't even know how to check private messages on Zoom.
I know, but Dan, look, come on.
And
I don't care if they
I'm
warned you or not.
Right.
You knew. How old are you?
I'm 38.
Dan, you were 38 years old. I didn't know you were 38. Dan, you're 38 years old. Like, you're almost as old as me. Like, I know, don't make that face.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't make that face. Listen, you're almost as old as me though, Dan. I know when I'm in a meeting or a therapy appointment, or I have a doctor's appointment, I have a telehealth appointment that I see. And I know, when I have that appointment, she don't want to hear my kids screaming in the background. She doesn't want to see me grilling. She doesn't want to see, I sit down someplace, I go up in my room, or I go in my office and I hole up for my period of that, because that's the expectation from a grown-up, and you're taken away from other people. And that's the thing that always gets me. And I'm not going to lecture, but that's the thing that always gets me about when people go to these IOPs, this isn't just about you. There's a group of people there and you guys are supposed to be working together and talking through things, and your behavior in that group doesn't just affect you, right? It's disruptive.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear it. You know better.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Yeah.
Any choice you make in there, this is all for you now. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be at 45? Right?
Yeah.
Where do you want to be at 50? Because we're not getting any younger.
Uh,
And like these choices that you make today and this week and the rest of this month, you know, that's what they go to, Dan. What you want out of your life, not what I want out of your life. I know you can do better. But you gotta want to.
Yeah.
One day of court watching, within the next 14 days, you'll figure it out with Kelsey.
I can just say one thing, Judge, with Dan working right now as well, and we have limited time with him. He can make a Wednesday work, but that is also a day of IOP, so yes, one day of court watching, but I would give Dan permission to leave at 1:30 so he can make, IOP.
Okay,
thank you, guys.
all right, we're all set.
Thanks, Judge.
Oscar Martinez. Oscar Martinez.
Looks like his attorney just walked out.
All right, thank you. Lutrell Miles. All right, what is happening with this case?
Your Honor, Mr. Miles would like to address the court.
All right, hello, Mr. Miles. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, man.
Okay.
May I speak?
Oh, sure. Just give me one moment. Let me find you on the docket. All right, I see you. Yes, you may speak.
Okay, I would like to relieve my lawyer of her duties of representing me.
All right. Do you have an attorney that you're going to hire?
We had asked, I think the last time I was here, I asked to get a bond so that we
No,
can.
my question is,
Yes,
do you
we're,
have an attorney that you're hiring?
yes, I have another attorney that's also appointed courted, but I've also, me and my mother are trying to get me a lawyer that's gonna help me in my situation for my future, because my life really on the line right now.
No, I understand what you're saying. So let me explain something to you.
Yes, ma'am.
The appointment will is where attorneys are, they're on an appointment will. The way it works is there's certain attorneys who are allowed to handle cases that are a certain level of felony. And that means that they have to have had so many trials and other things in order to be at that level.
Yes, ma'am.
If they are not deemed to be qualified for a specific level, then they are not allowed to be at that level.
Yes, ma'am.
So for this attorney to have been appointed to represent you, I can tell you she is qualified according to the will to be at that level of felony, which according to this, it's a 3rd degree. Now, I've been a defense attorney, I've been a prosecutor. As a defense attorney, let me tell you what my experience with some of my clients were. The state makes an offer. The client either wants their case dismissed or they ask me, why hasn't my case been dismissed yet? And I would tell them, the state makes their offer. You can either accept it or reject it. Or you can say, I'm rejecting it, but attorney, let the state know I'm willing to accept A, B, or C. And then your attorney can tell you, I don't think the state will accept that because they've already told me they're not going to accept that. But your attorney has a duty to go to the state and say, my client is willing to accept A, B, or C. Now, the prosecutor may say, that's ridiculous, or an offer may be given to you and you may say, that's ridiculous. Although I don't allow that in my court. I want everyone to be kind to each other. So people will nicely say, no, I will not give your client that. Or the client will say, no, I'm not accepting that. In this court, no one forces anyone to accept an agreement. You can accept it or not accept it. If you choose not to accept it, then you will have a jury trial. That's it. Your attorney cannot make the state give you whatever you think you deserve or whatever you want. All your attorney can do is tell the state, this is what we're willing to accept. The end. Now, if you want another attorney, then you will have to hire an attorney. Once you hire that attorney, then this case will have its jury trial date because your plea deadline date was on June 15th. And I extended your plea deadline date for today. So today is your plea deadline date. You can either accept the state's offer or not. It's completely up to you. If you choose not to accept their offer, then we will set this for a jury trial. And there are many cases that are set for jury trial. So wherever you fall, we will go to the jury trial. And what I can tell you is attorneys will tell you in this court, we move quickly on the jury trials because I don't want anyone waiting in jail for their jury trial. We did have a backlog. We had a backlog because I wasn't the first judge in this court. We also had a backlog because there was COVID and there were no jury trials. So now in this court, we're usually in trial every week. I can only do one trial a week, although one time we did do 2 in 1 week. But there are so many moving parts. One, I only have one jury room. So that's a reason why I can only do one jury trial a week. We're currently in a jury trial. So what I can tell you is your trial is not going to go today because we're currently in a jury trial. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you can accept the state's offer or not. That is completely up to you. You can issue them what's known as a counter offer, which means you're rejecting their offer, but saying this is what I can accept. And once you issue them a counter offer, they can either accept it or reject it, or they can say, we will reject this offer, but we will offer this. So that is how it works. But if you want another attorney, then you will have to retain an attorney. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Your Honor, I apologize. May I address the court?
Sure.
Mr. Miles has been very pleasant, very respectful. I've had communications with him and his mother. This case is old. And I do feel, and I think he would agree with me, that while our communications are pleasant, we have reached an impasse. I don't think that.
Oh, well, when you reach an impasse, that means you go to jury trial. That's it.
No, and I understand, and I'm whatever the court it would, I will follow the court. I just want to let the court know, I do think it would be difficult for Mr. Mao to assist me with his defense due to our impasse in that instance.
Oh, well, he's going to talk to you or not. If he chooses not to talk to you, then you go to trial with a client who refuses to talk to you. So that's the way it works.
Yes, sir. Just wanted to address the court.
No, I appreciate that. So, Mr. Miles, if you refuse to talk to your attorney, then your attorney would go to jury trial without having spoken to you.
Okay, so I don't have an option of hiring my own attorney.
Oh, yes, you can hire your own attorney. I'm going to give you a jury trial date, but what I'm telling you is if you do not hire an attorney, this is going to be your attorney at trial. If you do not speak to this attorney is going to trial not having spoken to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you don't speak to her about your case, then you all will be in jury trial and she's going to be sitting over there, not having spoken to you about your case, and whatever happens, happens. Do you understand?
Okay, can I ask you this one?
Sure.
Since I've been in Bear County for a month, she has not even spoken to me until the last time I was interviewed.
All right, well, we're going to do this. Guess what? There's a jury box right over there. She's going to speak to you.
Okay, I'm asking also, ma'am, is it possible for me to have a bond so that I can reach out on services?
If anyone wants to file a motion, they can file a motion. But for now, just sit over the box and your attorney will speak to you. Okay.
Your Honor, and just for the record, I did file a motion to set bond on June 9th. It's just pending. I just wanted to.
All right, just have the clerks pull it. All right, and if we could have everyone go in the back, we have a verdict. Oh, yeah, we can send it to Nahara, but before we send that, I want them to speak to each other in the box.